Watch Human Centipede full sequence with me. The movie opens with the main characters, Bill, Dwight, and Daisy is more of a secondary character, but the three of them are watching Human Centipede 2. They have the lights off and everything. Dwight just didn't get popcorn, otherwise, it would have been a nice team building exercise. Um, Dieter Laser, he plays Bill. And at first, he was put off from taking this role because of the selling point that it was 100% politically incorrect. But he was later talked into it, and he said that he is glad that he was because he was being, in his words, pretty stubborn about it. Which, I mean, I totally get because I don't mind TV shows and movies that don't agree with political correctness. I really don't care. Like, if you're going to make a movie set in the 50s, it can't be politically correct. It really can't. I mean, unless that's like part of the humor that all hatred is gone in this universe. But anyway, but I do find that when any creator is constantly going on and on and on and on about how politically incorrect whatever they made is, that they pretty much just want to offend you. They don't want to make a good movie or a good book. Dieter Laser did play Bill as kind of an insult to fascists. I don't know if this was just Dieter Laser's idea or it was also Tom Six's idea. I did kind of get the sense that it was both, but they both directed this movie together. And that intention does come through because Bill Boss is so over the top with his hatred that there is nothing that he can be other than a mockery of a bigot. And he is also incredibly cowardly. The only times that you see him standing up for himself is when there is no consequences. He will be abusive to the prisoners as long as they are in their cells or handcuffed. He will abuse his secretary, Daisy, and he will abuse Dwight because Daisy needs him. I don't think she currently needs him, but she feels like she owes him because Bill got her father out of prison, and Dwight both looks up to him and is an underling. So we do see how pathetic Bill is. Daisy and Dwight both love the second movie. Bill Boss thinks it's disgusting and stupid, which he has absolutely no right to, which you will see very, very quite soon. um, and the three of them do have incredibly good chemistry, especially Bill Boss and Dwight, Lawrence Harvey, and Dieter Laser. Tom Six has said that he wants them to kind of feel like a comedic duo but in horror. And that does come across. You'll have to trust me about the comedy in the movie. I'll get back to that. But this does get funny. I promise. And before you judge me, just wait, okay? Just wait. Anyway, Daisy says that Bill just doesn't like the movie because Tom Six is crazier than him and that makes him jealous, and so he sexually assaults her. Later, they get a call about a prisoner acting up. On the way to this prisoner, Dwight is explaining that they're using way too much resources because Bill is incredibly violent. And Dwight in this movie is played by Lawrence R. Harvey, who played, what was his name again? Norton in the second movie. His acting is really, really good in this movie, and he's a character that I feel conflicted about because it is essentially his fault, everything that happens. And so you want to hate him, but you end up hating Bill a lot more, even though Dwight is. He's not as bad as Bill, but he's more of a cowardly antagonist. He's that person that watches everything, that silently supports awful shit that happens, which is a lot more grounded and realistic for a villain, in my opinion. There is a lot more people like that than there is like Bill Boss. But these people are needed by people like Bill Boss, or else Bill Boss has no power. He's just a guy on the side of the road screaming about how he hates minorities. Bill Boss stops by one of his most hated inmates, I think 741. None of the inmates are given names, which is topical. And they get into a little argument, and then later he goes down to the prisoner that stabbed a guard, and he is incredibly racist, and then he breaks the prisoner's arm, and the prisoner threatens that Bill will be sexually abused until he dies. This sets him off. He goes into a screaming rampage as all of the prisoners chant their agreement for Bill's fate. With sexual abuse being much more prominent in this movie than the last one, and I don't think it even occurred in the first. Yeah, it did. Sexual harassment occurred in the first one. Lawrence Harvey explained that they didn't want sexual abuse to feel gratuitous in any of these movies, that it did happen for a reason. And granted, it is absolutely rampant in this movie, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like you could make an argument for it being gratuitous, but I don't see it that way personally. Maybe with Daisy's character. I feel like a lot that happened to her did not need to happen, which you will see. Anyway. Anyway, Lawrence in this was an interview for Human Centipede 3, but he did explain that in Human Centipede 2, we see Martin sexually assaulting the woman at the end of the centipede to cement that you can't have sympathy for him, which that did make sense because I did have a hard time not feeling bad for him throughout most of the movie. Back at the office, everyone is suffering from intense heat. This is an ongoing man versus it's hot as balls outside conflict. Violence does escalate as heat gets too intense, and this is anecdotal, but I have spoken to someone in prison who has said that heat isn't handled as well as it should be, which I think is an idiotic oversight because, I mean, think about Texas. Like, even a few people in a house will be baked sometimes, and then you get all of these people stuffed into a concrete building. I mean, that's even if you don't care about the people, everyone is at risk at that point. What I meant to say is, even if you don't care about the prisoners, which you should because they're people, if you have them subjected to intense heat that increases the likelihood of there being a riot, or even just an assault, which increases the likelihood of officers dying. Daisy brings in a package for Bill Boss as Dwight is again talking about the need for change in the prison. Dwight opens up the package to find that it is the that he ordered. Prisoner calls Bill to tell him that he's coming to get him. After a complete meltdown, Dwight diffuses it by ensuring that it was just a prank call. One of the prisoners used their monthly call to family to do this. And so Bill has him waterboarded, except with boiling water. And then the governor comes by
Try to make him touch your ass so we can sue his ass for sexual harassment.
to check on things. And he confirms that the prison is using way too much resources, and if they don't change things, the governor is going to have them shut down. Once the governor leaves, Bill stops pretending to be oh so nice because there is now no consequences, and he has another meltdown. And he declares that castration will fix everything because the issue with using too many resources can be solved by using more resources, obviously. Anyway, he takes the prisoner who was threatening him in the beginning, not the one whose arm he broke, but the one in the in the cell, who I think was talking about raping him. Anyway, he takes him first, and he cuts off his nuts, and he enjoys this just gleefully. He even uses it as a little facial cream because nothing can go to waste in this prison. They do waste resources, but nothing else. Nothing else. We next see Bill sexually assaulting Daisy. After she leaves, people bring in the roasted nuts that they've prepared for him. Fun fact, Tom Six actually has this prop in his house. Why? I don't know. They look really, really fucking gross. I would not want them anywhere near me, but you know what? You have fun. Anyway, he eats them, and that's deeply upsetting. And him and Dwight talk about the execution that Dwight went to see yesterday. Bill Boss is upset about the idea of a lethal injection because, in this specific case, the prisoner didn't have the decency to kill the child in such a humane way, so why should he be given a humane punishment? Which is an argument that people have. In this case, it's pretty funny since Bill will horrifically abuse anyone, just not even for upsetting him, just for being in his vicinity. Dwight tries to push his centipede idea again, channeling Martin's obsession, and Bill is deeply upset because he is obviously enjoying his lovely meal. Anyway, later they get a call that the prisoner that he tortured, one of them anyway, is awake. And so Bill goes down to verbally abuse him, and then as he is passing, the other prisoner, I think he says something like threatening to Bill, and so Bill breaks his arm again, which I don't understand because he already said he'd be back later. You're just getting his attention. You're just reminding him. Why? Anyway, they pass another prisoner who we see a couple times, and I thought I recognized that beard. I recognize that very, very long beard. And that is the psychiatrist from the second movie. Go home. Why do you want to be here? Anyway, Bill goes to check on the
Selling
prisoner
big
who just
snake.
had his nuts removed.
I owe Mr.
And
Boston
later,
nothing.
he
He
is
just busted a
feeling
poor lady's
deeply
looking for
suicidal
replacements. You
because
better
that
believe
prisoner still wants to cut him up into oh so little bits. Actually, that's a more PG version of what he wants to do.
when I get loose, I'm gonna find some barbed wire.
Anyway, he is feeling suicidal, and so Dwight pushes the human centipede on him yet again. They have a huge argument, which leads to a huge falling out and Dwight getting fired. You can really see how deeply Daisy cares for Dwight. She's played by Brie Olson. I couldn't get much information on what she thought about acting in this movie, other than the guy that plays the governor is a dick. But I think she does a really good job. Bill screams, "I hate human beings," which is a throwback to Human Centipede 1. And later, he goes to the top of the watchtower and, in a speech that is just as racist as he can possibly make it, he declares that castration is going to be the solution, even though it did not work. It did nothing, my child. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, Bill gets a heat induced nightmare or hallucination of the prisoners escaping and sexually assaulting him, but in a way that is way more graphic than you're thinking. Whatever you're thinking, more graphic than that. It's bad. Dwight is there too. Tom makes a visit. He gets a happy hello from Daisy, who says that he is
Thanks.
just even more attractive in person.
Let me show you this.
And you made this entire
Gentlemen,
movie just so Brie
let's sit
Olson
down
would
for
say that
breakfast.
to you, didn't you? I bet you did. I don't believe you didn't. The surgeon joins so that he can make sure that everything is medically accurate, and Dwight makes some adjustments to the centipede in thought of the prisoners who will be leaving, as if they won't come straight back and fill you with lead. They have prison movie night, except now all of the prisoners are invited, and it's kind of funny. Some of them get up and like scream about how the movie is so vulgar and everything, and it's kind of funny, honestly. Anyway, fun fact: a teacher showed children, I think the second movie, and she was given a signed copy because Tom Six said something about how yes, every child should see this movie. Anyway, Bill Boss, despite Dwight pleading him not to, gets up in front of all of them and incredibly graphically explains his plans. And obviously, a riot ensues. And this, in my opinion, is where the movie honestly would have ended because he's describing a fate way worse than death. There's no way that they're giving up the riot. They're killing you. They do get into the office. Daisy tries to join them, and she is shoved outside, and she is attacked and put into a coma. They can't get into wherever Dwight and Bill are, like the next room, because the door is locked, even though it looks like a pretty basic wooden door to me. You know, one that you can just kick down, especially since one of the guys is a really fucking big guy. Also, the what ends the riot is the SWAT team shows up, and I am so sorry, but they are not getting in there before the hundreds of prisoners that are risking their lives to kill as many people as possible succeed. That's not happening. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. It's just not happening. Later, they are checking up on the prisoners that'll be put into a centipede, and I'm sorry, but another issue. How are you getting enough anesthesia to take out everyone and keep them under? Because there's like 300 plus people in this prison. I just don't believe you. This movie's ridiculous. Honestly, this is my fault for even trying to find sense. I'm being a goob. Anyway. Later, Dwight and Bill are role playing, not like that, about how the governor will react to Bill. Oh, golly. To quote unquote Bill's idea.
Republic cigar.
I only smoke Cuban cigars, best in the world. No, just kidding. After having seen the miracle, you, Sir William Boss, you are the new American hero. You're in the Hall of Fame with George Patton, Neil Armstrong, and Muhammad Ali. Thanks to you, our glorious nation will be the example to the world again, a proud, safe nation with hardly any crime. Your idea, Sir William, is of absolute genius. You will be honored personally by the President of the United States of America.
Actually, it was my accountant, Mr. Dwight Butler. It was his brilliant idea.
You did it.
Which also is foreshadowing. But honestly, the scene, if you completely don't know any context at all, is kind of wholesome because again, the um Dieter Laser and Lawrence R. Norton, they do have chemistry. Like I feel like they could have been in a really good comedy together. Well, they give our boy Tommy a tour of the prison. One prisoner is incredibly excited because he has coprophagia, and because Bill is the thief of joy, he shoots him in his face, and Tommy looks deeply upset by this. Later, they see the beginnings of the surgery, of which we also see that Daisy is being a part of it. I don't know why. And Tom looks really upset. Which honestly, he portrays himself in this movie as kind of a tool, which I honestly respect and I find it really funny. But to be completely honest, it would be difficult to write yourself in a movie and not just intentionally make yourself a complete dumbass. Because, I mean, what am I going to write myself as this badass character? No one's going to ever take me seriously ever again. That's not happening. No. The governor comes in to see the centipede. He is given pause, and so he leaves them alone for a moment, which Bill contemplates mass murder or suicide, because why wouldn't he? That's obviously the next step. Actually, to be completely honest, this is realistic because typically if someone's going postal, that losing their job is one of the main factors, especially like when you take into account they're all suffering from intense heat. Anyway, Bill is thinking about going postal, so he shoots the soldier in there.
Moment, huh? When do you think we can start the national surgical campaign? Because I am so fucking ready. What is the matter?
When he's about to shoot Dwight,
Please do.
the governor comes in and says that this is all just a fantastic idea. And so Bill shoots Dwight anyway to take credit. And then later we see him celebrating shirtless. I don't know why he's shirtless, don't ask me. He just is. Actually, no, that's probably also the heat. Anyway, this movie also wouldn't happen, and if it did, I think every cop would die because, I mean, think about it. You rob a bank. You know that you're going to be put into a human centipede if you're caught. You are going out in a blaze of glory, or you're killing everyone in sight and going into hiding. Those are your two options. Also, the medical shit, too. This wouldn't use less resources. They even say in the movie that human shit has little to no nutritive value. And so they'd have to be given a line. So each one of them, after the first one, maybe after the second, maybe, is given fluids, which uses resources. Also, there's the risk of someone just, of a bunch of people, all of them just going around with a needle sticking out of their arm. That's gonna just cause so much bullshit. So much. It's not like it might not be that much of an issue, but like if that gets infected, that's even more of a headache. No. Also, they say that human shit, once it leaves the mouth, I mean, like if it goes directly from the anus to the mouth, which makes me want to vomit even saying that, is sterile. And I don't believe you. I didn't look it up, but I don't believe you. This movie is the most upsetting, but it is also the funniest. Don't look at me like that. It can be funny at times, okay? Just it can be. I promise. I'm not sick.
Sister Dwight. Well, attend the fear. We are not in a movie here playing some idiots.
Cigar.
I only smoke Cuban cigars, best in the world. No, just kidding. After having seen the miracle, you, Sir William Boss, you are the new American hero. You're in the Hall of Fame with George Patton, Neil Armstrong, and Muhammad Ali. Thanks to you. You six having a hard on? Show you some human centipede improvement. Copyright the boss. Follow me. Bing, 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 bing. Wait and see, Dwighty. Wait and wonder. Wait and see. Mr. Dwighty. Mr. Dwighty. Wait and wonder. Wait and see. Miss. Right clitorises.
What?
Clitorises! What? Whoever did this is. I'm only a German American from Schweinfurt, but I feel deeply ashamed for you, sir.
I did everything I could. I swear to God.
Please, boss, will you just listen to my idea?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, I've seen those. They're really good.
It can be funny. I still would not subject a friend to this one. The only movie of this that you can subject a friend without reasonably expecting that friend to viciously attack you with a tile iron would be the first one. Maybe. Anyway, that's my review, and I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions or critiques or like constructive feedback or whatever, I'd really appreciate it because I do like watching horror movies and I do like talking about them.
Wait and see, Dwighty. Wait and wonder. Wait and see. Mr. Dwighty. Mr. Dwighty. Wait and wonder. Wait and see.